faithfully sharing insights and exploring great books worldwide. Hi, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today we're diving into manipulation psychology, subtitled Fighting for Control of Your Life. Every relationship involves people influencing each other. A boss wants employees to boost their productivity, a wife wishing her husband would join her for fun. It's an everyday thing. Most of the time, people are open and honest with each other. With respect for each other's wishes, we negotiate, voice our needs, and fulfill theirs too, creating a win-win for all. But some resort to threats, bribes, or lies to force others into compliance. That's manipulation, the focus of this book. Say, a boss promises a pay raise but piles on extra work hours, yet, no matter how much gets done, the reward never comes. Then there are those who expect their partners to always follow their lead.
If the partner doesn't comply, they might throw a tantrum or give the silent treatment, shutting them out.
Manipulation can happen with family, coworkers, or friends. Anyone, regardless of age, education, or status, can fall victim. Once manipulators see their tricks work, they get bolder and push for more. The deeper victims go, the more they lose control, leading to anxiety, stress, depression, harming their well-being. The author, Harriet Breaker, is a U.S. clinical psychologist and management consultant with 3 decades of experience and a best-selling writer. We've covered The Disease to Please on Sally's Book Talk. That's her book too. She wrote Manipulation Psychology to help folks spot and break free from manipulation, taking back their lives. Harriet uses real stories to dissect manipulators' traits and tactics, then offers concrete ways to get out. Now, I'll break down the book into 3 key parts. First up, what traits define manipulators versus victims? Second, how these manipulative bonds develop. Third, how to break free from manipulation. Let's begin with Part 1. Traits of manipulators and victims. The author notes that manipulators use various tactics because they see the world differently. Their mindset boils down to 3 key traits. First, manipulators don't believe in equal relationships. They can't imagine relationships where both parties have equal decision-making power and respect each other's autonomy. Such relationships are beyond their comprehension. They see only 2 roles, manipulator or victim. If they're not manipulating, they believe they'll become victims. Plus, they assume everyone thinks this way, that others would manipulate given the chance.
This fuels their urge to strike first and manipulate others.
Second, they view life as a zero-sum game. Zero-sum means limited resources where cooperation can't create mutual gain. To manipulators, if others gain something from them, they've automatically lost. So they treat everyone with competitive hostility. Third, they lack empathy. Manipulators disregard others' needs and emotions. They see others as existing solely to serve their needs. Others' joys or sorrows mean nothing to them. So who develops these traits? The book lists personality types prone to this manipulative mindset. We'll focus on 4 types. First, narcissistic personality. Narcissists are grandiose. They believe they're inherently superior and deserve special treatment. They never consider building equal, respectful relationships or reciprocating. Their needs come first. Others exist to serve them.
Second type, histrionic personality. These individuals crave attention and feel distressed when not in the spotlight.
They use provocative behavior or flashy appearances to attract notice.
Histrionics also manipulate through intense emotional displays, like crying or anger, to force attention.
The third manipulator personality type is type A, characterized by intense competitiveness. They're ambitious, driven, and obsessed with measurable achievements, like money earned or first-place finishes. Type A personalities also crave control. To boost their accomplishments, they'll manipulate without hesitation.
If resisted, they often explode with rage to dominate others.
The fourth manipulator type is antisocial personality. Antisocial personalities lack morals or responsibility. Neither conscience nor law restrains them. They'll deceive, threaten, or harm others for gain. With low tolerance, they turn aggressive when refused. And that covers manipulator traits. Now let's explore victim traits. Responses to manipulation vary. Some resist fiercely and reject demands. Others yield and sink deeper into control. The book details personalities vulnerable to exploitation, which I've grouped into 4 types. First type, addiction to pleasing others. Some view pleasing others as their life mission, believing they must always say yes and care for everyone. Their self-worth hinges on external validation. More praise means more happiness. Criticism or dislike makes them feel worthless and terrified. Just considering saying no fills them with guilt and anxiety, convincing themselves they're inadequate. To manipulators, people pleasers are ideal targets. They comply without pressure. Manipulators often start by showering them with approval and praise. This feels wonderful, making them crave more validation. Then, threatening to withdraw approval makes them obedient through fear, easily manipulated. Second personality, fear of negative emotions. As mentioned, people pleasers fear others' disapproval. Here, we're talking about those who intensely fear others' negative emotions. They'll do anything to avoid anger, tears, or conflicts with others. Manipulators just need to raise their voice or look angry to make them submit. Notably, while victims fear others' emotions, they inevitably feel anger and frustration themselves. The author warns, if you often feel negative emotions in relationships, question if it signals inequality, meaning you're being manipulated or vulnerable to it. The third personality type is having a vague self-identity. Some children face constant negative criticism from parents and teachers during upbringing. Adults see them as incompetent, always demanding obedience. In such settings, children gradually believe their opinions don't matter. Rarely expressing their wishes clearly, they grow up struggling with self-understanding. Who am I? What life do I want? They rarely consider these, so they lack assertiveness and feel anxious when deciding. From shopping and careers to clothing and partners, they rely on others' judgments. And when people depend on others to decide, they naturally become easy targets for manipulators. The fourth personality is external locus of control. When explaining events, we typically lean toward blaming external factors, called external locus of control. The other tendency is blaming oneself, internal locus of control. For example, acing an exam. Externals credit easy questions or good teaching. Internals credit their own ability and effort. Externals are more easily manipulated because they believe their power is tiny, life isn't theirs to control, and they're helpless against adversity. So they're more likely to surrender to manipulation. All right, let's recap part 1. People with certain personalities are more prone to becoming manipulators. Common personalities include narcissistic, histrionic, type A, and antisocial, while those addicted to pleasing others, fearing negative emotions, having vague self-identity, or external locus of control become easy victims. That covers traits of manipulators and victims. Now in part 2, let's see how manipulative relationships form. Different manipulators use different tactics to establish control. I've grouped the book's methods into 3 types. First, bait and switch. Here, manipulators build relationships in 2 phases. Phase 1, promising rewards. When others comply, manipulators offer rewards, money, promotions, praise, love, etc. Rewards create pleasure, making people repeat compliant behavior. If someone always uses rewards in relationships, it's equal and healthy. But for manipulators, rewards are just bait to hook victims. Early on, they may give small rewards to build trust. Then they replace these with bigger long-term rewards. Trusting them, victims comply with demands while waiting for the payoff. This leads to phase 2. Threatening loss.
Manipulators warn.
If you don't obey, you'll lose the promised reward. To avoid loss, victims submit, but the long-term reward is a mirage. Manipulators never intend to deliver. It's just bait for control. The author shares a workplace case. Francine, a real estate agent, was approached in his second year by Annie, a senior agent proposing collaboration. Annie said she wanted more time with her wife, so she'd have him share her workload. In return, Francine would gain experience and higher pay. After agreeing, Francine worked relentlessly, late nights, weekends, for 6 months, yet received none of the promised compensation.
Every time he brought this up with Annie, she'd accuse him of not trusting her. even flying into a rage and threatening Francine.
She threatened to cancel the partnership if he kept questioning her. Francine yielded to the threats and worked for Annie for 3 more months. Brias, Weeman. Later, he learned from colleagues that Annie had been lying. She wasn't spending weekends with her wife, but having an affair with an intern. Some colleagues even assumed Francine was also Annie's lover. During those 9 months working for Annie, Francine gained nothing but exhaustion and a ruined reputation. The second method to establish manipulation is called negative reinforcement. This means manipulators engage in behaviors that inflict negative emotions, like crying, raging, criticizing, threatening, or punishing. They only stop these behaviors when the victim complies with their demands. Here, manipulators don't promise rewards but demonstrate through actions. If you don't obey me, I'll make you suffer indefinitely. The book shares a case. Sally and Jim, newlyweds. Sally's mother demanded they come for dinner every Friday, which Sally agreed to. Months later, Jim wanted some Fridays at his parents' house, a request Sally found reasonable. When Sally told her mother they wouldn't come next Friday, her mother angrily accused her of breaking family tradition. Then her mother started sobbing, claiming she and Sally's father would feel abandoned. New Debbie, the following week, her mother gave Sally the silent treatment, ending their daily calls. That week, her mother never contacted Sally, ignoring even Sally's calls. These tactics are classic negative reinforcement. Eventually, Sally's guilt and fear intensified, terrified her mother might cut ties forever. Sally begged Jim to cancel their plans and resume Friday dinners at her mother's. The third manipulation method is traumatic one-time learning. Abbreviated as traumatic learning, this refers to manipulators who inflict severe emotional trauma to induce helplessness, anxiety, and fear, making victims compliant. The author describes a patient, a brilliant, ambitious young woman, new to her job, seen as a rising star, assigned a company mentor. One day, the mentor called her into the office and launched vicious personal attacks, constantly belittling and criticizing her. She pounded the desk and screamed while doing this. This caused severe psychological trauma. She took a week off before returning. Afterward, she felt intense anxiety and dread toward the mentor, fearing repeat attacks whenever she saw them. She stopped being vibrant, instead becoming submissive, cautious, and unwilling to defy any demand. Traumatic learning differs from negative reinforcement. During negative reinforcement, manipulators give clear demands. Victims can stop the suffering by complying immediately. With traumatic learning, manipulators aim not for instant obedience, but long-term control through induced terror. Thus, they make no demands. Victims can't stop the torment regardless of actions. By inflicting inescapable agony, manipulators create lasting trauma to establish control. These 3 methods aren't exclusive. Most manipulators combine them, like during bait and switches. Second phase, beyond threatening rewards, they may reinforce control with negative reinforcement or trauma. All right, let's summarize part 2. Manipulators primarily use 3 methods to establish control. First, bait and switch. Manipulators dangle long-term rewards to lure victims, then control them by threatening to withdraw promises. Second, negative reinforcement. Manipulators inflict ongoing negative emotions to force compliance. Third, traumatic learning. By causing severe emotional trauma, manipulators instill deep fear to control victims. How should victims counter these tactics? In part 3, we'll discuss breaking free from manipulation. Before methods, the author stresses, don't expect to change manipulators. Focus on changing yourself. Some people confront manipulators, calling their behavior unfair and unkind. Others try appealing to their empathy, but these approaches never work. As discussed, manipulators neither believe in equal relationships nor possess empathy. They manipulate simply because it benefits them. Only when manipulation stops being effective will they leave victims alone. To achieve this, victims must change themselves behaviorally and mentally. The author suggests starting with behavioral changes. They're more observable and actionable. Thoughts and behaviors interconnect. Changing behavior first makes mental shifts easier later. Behaviorally, Victims can break free in 4 steps. Step 1. Delay responding. Manipulators use various tactics to pressure victims. To avoid harm or negative emotions, victims typically comply immediately. But this only encourages manipulators to escalate. They continue using these tactics. To change the dynamic, first break the automatic compliance pattern. After a demand, don't respond immediately. Create space for calm reflection. Say you need to use the restroom, make an urgent call, or get water. Any brief exit creates breathing room. Use those minutes for deep breathing to calm down and prepare for further delay. Then tell the manipulator, I need time to consider your request. I'll give my answer after careful thought. Phrasing can vary, but state it firmly and calmly, as an announcement, not a request. Asking, can I have time to think? Invites refusal. Never phrase it as a question. Manipulators will likely object, getting angry, accusatory, or pressuring immediate compliance. When facing manipulators' objections, don't over-explain delays or give exact timelines. Just acknowledge their need while repeating your stance. Say, I understand you want an immediate answer, but I need time to think. I'll contact you when I decide. No matter how manipulators rage, keep repeating this. It's your fundamental right. After several exchanges, manipulators usually lose patience and relent. To prepare, write scripts anticipating objections and your responses. Have friends and family role-play manipulators using these scripts with you. Get feedback on speech volume, tone, eye contact, and posture to project confidence. The more realistic the practice, the better you'll handle actual manipulators. Step 2. Increase tolerance for negative emotions. Manipulators control victims by triggering fear, anxiety, guilt, any distressing emotion. Lower tolerance means quicker compliance to escape discomfort. Thus, building emotional endurance is key to breaking free. The author recommends desensitization, a psychological technique. Recall situations where manipulation triggered negative emotions and forced compliance. Write them down. Detail manipulators' words and actions and your resulting emotions. Be specific. Read these accounts aloud and record them. Lie comfortably, breathe deeply for 2 to 3 minutes to relax fully. Play the recording, mentally re-entering those scenarios to re-experience emotions. Meanwhile, the victim must maintain deep breathing and relaxation. This reduces negative emotions.
After playback, say,
I might feel anxious or guilty, but I can endure this. I'm okay. Practice this twice daily for 1 to 2 weeks. This builds conditioned reflexes, linking negative emotions to relaxation, boosting tolerance and behaviorally breaking manipulation's hold. Step 3. Confronting the manipulator. After the first 2 steps, you're mentally prepared. Next, learn to directly refuse demands. This is critical. The author provides specific phrasing for clear refusal. Tell manipulators how their tactics make you feel and that you recognize their purpose. State clearly these tactics won't work anymore. Demand they stop manipulation and communicate with equal respect. Like Sally could tell her mother. When you accuse me of breaking tradition and ignore my calls, I feel guilty. I know you're trying to stop me from dining at gyms, but these tactics won't work. If you stop accusations and silent treatment, communicating calmly would feel respectful. Like with delay practice, role play with friends to rehearse refusal before confronting manipulators. Behaviorally breaking manipulation's hold. Step 4. Setting personal boundaries. Previous refusal addresses single demands. To fully break free, establish clear boundaries. You can't accuse, insult, threaten, or use silent treatment. Demand acknowledgement. My needs and opinions deserve respect. Clear boundaries boost self-affirming tone, helping us break free from manipulation. After setting boundaries, manipulators often escalate pressure, screaming, slamming doors, or prolonged silent treatment. Never back down. Keep refusing and reinforcing boundaries with unwavering determination. Some manipulators may change, rebuilding relationships with mutual respect instead of coercion. But others cling to manipulation. For them, we must choose to leave completely. The author considers this the healthiest choice. Having covered behavioral changes, let's discuss victims' mental transformation. Recall the 4 vulnerability traits: people-pleasing, fear of negative emotions, vague self-identity, and external locus of control. Each generates harmful thought patterns. Victims must identify and replace them with stronger thinking. Supported by resilient thoughts, behavioral resistance becomes firmer. The book offers many thought replacement examples. Here are two. People pleasers think, I must always make others happy. Replace with, I can't please everyone. It's impossible. I'll prioritize important people's needs. Those fearing conflict think, I must avoid confrontation at all costs. Replace with,
I dislike conflict, but I won't be manipulated to escape it.
all right, let's recap part 3. Breaking free requires behavioral and mental changes. Behaviorally, delay responses, build emotional tolerance, refuse demands, and set boundaries. Mentally, identify vulnerable thought patterns and replace them with resilient thinking. That wraps up our exploration of manipulation psychology. The author believes courage is crucial for escaping manipulative relationships beyond all discussed methods. Courage isn't absence of fear, but pushing forward despite anxiety. Feeling nervous when resisting manipulators is completely normal. Believe you deserve respect and equality. This fuels the courage to change. Guided by courage, consistently applying these methods will free you from manipulation. All right, manipulation psychology. That concludes our reading. Find notes below the audio. See you next time.